Okay, let's see here. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MongoDB stream. This is exciting. This is our first big stream. Apparently, we used to do this. I don't know. We're back, though. Um, okay. Wow, we actually have a couple people on the stream right now. Like 17 people. That's great. And hello. So let's see here. Couple notes jumping off just in the front here. We do have a couple moderators. We have Nick and Maxime. Maybe you two want to wave in the chat channel so everyone knows who you are. I'll be here to answer questions too. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat, but those two will also be on the chat to answer any questions you guys have or kind of give any resources too. So for sure, hit them up. Okay, cool. So let's get started. Today's gonna be a live coding session and kind of a demo of a project I'm currently in the middle of. So that project is my IoT Kitty Litter Box. I've actually got my cat right over here. He's hanging out on the table. Oh my gosh. But I've been working on a IoT project for him, I guess, and it's a IoT Kitty Litter Box. It's supposed to be something fun, something a little silly, also like a little bit useful. It should be a little bit useful, and yeah, so that's the idea. I kind of want to show where the project's at right now. I've been doing a lot of work on it this week, and I've got a lot of cool, exciting updates, and it actually looks like a litter box now. It's been just a pile of wires sitting on my desk for the past month, and I finally got it installed in a real box that really works. So maybe let's just start by taking a look at the project so far. All right, let's see here. Let's see if this works. Great. Hello. I'm over here, but this is the actual. Let's see. This looks a little bit laggy. I hope you guys can still hear me okay. But let's take a look at it. So I bought this box online. I didn't make it or anything, but which is super nice. It's a gorgeous little box. It's got a little opening on the side, so the cat can go in and out. And this is where the main box will be. Under this mat, I have a plywood board, and under the board, I actually have some. They're load cells. It's basically it's what they're used in like scales that you would have online. I'm gonna put the camera down so people don't get seasick watching the stream anymore. Let's see. I'm gonna tilt the camera down a little bit. Okay. It's a little hard to see, but in the side here, I have a Raspberry Pi that's hooked up to the load cells, that plywood sheet on the other side here. Yeah, maybe, see, I'm going to go in the box. Maybe, can you guys see what that actually looks like? Nah, it's too dark in there. That's okay. But that's what the box actually looks like. Okay, let's come back. I might post link to the schematics on there. And then one other thing too with the I have a sensor on the door, so it's actually behind. It's a magnetic switch sensor, and it basically can sense when this door opens and closes. And I use that to tell when it goes into maintenance mode or not. So that's basically maintenance mode would be like when I'm cleaning the box, and that would involve either removing or adding litter. And why I need something like that for this box is I need to know when I need to recalibrate the base weight of the box. So in a nutshell, what this box does is that the load cells will be initialized every single time I open or close that door to a new base weight, and then it waits for additional weight, hopefully the weight of a cat or a raccoon or possum. I don't know. Something that crawls in the box. I'm going to assume it's my cat using it. So it waits for the additional weight, and then then we'll log that. So we send that to a database so we can actually do some long-term data analytics on habits, right? The other cool thing you can do with that too is it's a really easy way to passively measure my cat's health over time. And what I mean by that is while he's using it, I'm getting a passive measurement of his weight. So I can figure out what the additional weight of the thing that's added to the box. I wait a couple seconds because he likes to like dig and bury a little bit, but like after 30 seconds, I assume he's at a stable weight or like a stable, he's not moving around too much. And then I get a weight and log that. The other thing I'm planning on doing is adding Twilio or email notifications. So you can either get push updates, emails, or texts when he goes. You can do that. That'd be something if you want to clean the box and like reduce odors. It'd be great, right? Or the other thing I'm thinking too is adding a weekly digest. So just email myself. I digest that week's like of his health that week, you know? Yeah. This box that I showed you, it's a fancy box. It's like a mid-century cat box. You don't need something that fancy. I think it's there's no way. You don't need something that fancy. I was thinking about just doing you can get like a $20 closed lid box on eBay or like Amazon or something, and you could totally use that as well. I went a little extra just because I'm in a small apartment and I wanted a closed lid box that didn't look atrocious, so I bought something that was kind of fancy and kind of nice. But you don't need that much. This whole thing though, it's built with a Raspberry Pi. I bought like a sensor kit online, a couple wires, the load cells. I don't know, with minus the box enclosure, I probably spent $40 to $50. The Raspberry Pi is probably the most expensive part, being $35, which isn't that bad. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's see here. What do I want to do? Oh, a couple of things I'll note about this too. I'm gonna plan on keep on streaming this box. Like I said, there's additional features I want to keep adding to it, and I'll probably be coming back to this in the future. So if you're interested in learning more about it too, or even just IoT in general, working with MongoDB, updating databases, we'll be going through all of that. In fact, today I'm planning on doing 2 additional modifications to the box. So I actually have a dashboard I've been working on. I'm going to share that here. Let's take a look here, and there we go. So I have this little, what that is. Humongous. It's a work in progress. A little dashboard here for my IoT Kitty Litter Box. It's just a little web application. Nothing fancy. I want to make it look like a startup. But the cool thing I want to do is have a real-time view of what's going on. And then that's open to the public. It would just be publicly sharing my cat's habits, right? Everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to know that. That sounds super great. Yeah, so today I'm going to be working on adding a new chart, so digging into the data a little bit. I don't have a lot of great data yet. I actually don't have the litter in there. I'm still kind of gluing and screwing all the little nuts and bolts into the box. But yeah, I do have some test data we can play around with. I want to go through the schema I developed for this too. Uh, I'm using a time series based schema with MongoDB for logging this over the long term, which I think is awesome. I actually just learned a little bit how to do this recently, so I'm super excited to share about how that works. Um, and then lastly, if we have time today, I just added the sensor on the door. Um, so I want to add that to the MongoDB schema. So we added a new sensor, and I want to start tracking how many times we go into maintenance mode and just add that to the time series data. Should be a piece of cake. But again, that'll be if we have time today. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Um, oh my gosh, my cat is just laying in the sun right now. I wish maybe I could show you. He is so cute right now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. That camera is mega choppy. Does that work? That works. Okay. Um, no, I gotta fix that. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, cool. So chat, I don't know. You guys feel good about that? If you guys have anything else you want me to cover, feel free to yell about that in the chat too, or any questions. We're all here. I'm here to like help answer any questions you might have. Anything you want to see more? I feel like it's kind of dark. It's hard to see everything, but I'd love to like go into it if anyone wants to see anything specific too. All right. Great. Let's just should we start with the charts? Should we do that? Okay. Cool. So this form, it's nothing fancy. I'm not using a React. It's not a React. It's straight up HTML, CSS, and not even there's no JavaScript on here. It's just straight up HTML form. I did think about using React or Vue or something, but like, dude, it's a landing page. That'd be super overkill for this. And even by integrating charts, it's not even that big of a deal. So, cool thing that we have too with MongoDB is charts are just baked in, which is super cool. So maybe I'll just show you guys what we got so far. I may make this a little bit bigger. Okay, cool. So we have our someone in the chat just said that they are a litter box for them. Yes, I think this was designed for cats, but there's nothing stopping a human being from using this. Hey, whatever, man. Whatever you want. That's totally fine. I may have to try it out too, just to test it. Just do my due diligence. I think that's a good idea. Okay, so adding charts. We're back here. The data is being hosted on MongoDB Atlas. It's our cloud hosted MongoDB as a service. Cool. And I have a database and a collection in here spun up that's saving the data. I'm just going to go through the data really quickly, and then maybe I'll show it. Maybe I need to refresh this. Hang on, let me refresh. Something might be going on here. Okay, let's take a look in here. Okay, perfect. Just had to do a quick little update. So I have a database called IoT Kitty Litter Box, and I can save multiple collections in here. Currently, I only have one collection. I call it time series data. And I want to show basically my high level schema design for this. And then once we understand the schema design, it'll help us understand how to design the charts for this as well. So it's based on a time series data schema, which works super well for the document model. Because like in traditional RDBMSs, it can be really complicated to do these like complex queries. It's super fast with this. So typically you're using these for charting data, and I designed mine to to save all the events that happen in a 24-hour period. So every 24 hours, it starts a new document in my collection. And in that collection, I keep some basic information. So what day it was, what cat it was. Basically, it's in case like I want to develop more of these. I would know which box was which. I'm denoting like whose owner this is or whose cat it is. And then in here, I have this chat is telling me to zoom in. Thank you, chat. Great. Let's see here. How are we doing? How's that look? Cool. Looks good. All right. In here, each document, we have an array of events. So this one's crazy. This is a test I'm running. I think I had 63 events. That would be 63 times my cat went to the bathroom. So every single time I see a weight increase in the box, it says, cat's entered the box, waits a little bit, gets its weight, and it leaves a timestamp. So that makes it super easy for us to run data analytics on our data visualizations, right? I can just run like number of times he went per day, like day of the week, and then just length of the array. Super easy. We just do a couple reads, or if I want to dig in to a single day's events. Oh my gosh, someone's suggesting using machine learning model for this. I love that idea. To start training robots to start predicting my cat's habits. I think that would be an amazing idea. Yeah, but designing a schema this way is it's a super easy way to do data analytics on projects. And you can design this any way you want. I'm going to be doing reporting based on days. But if you're working on an IoT project, you could do it like one document would have a year if you have like something that's less frequent, or even do it a document per hour if you want to get granular, like in logging like moisture sensor data every second or something, right? You may want to get more granular with the time series, but for what I'm doing, reporting, I just want to know about daily. So it's cool. I think having the document model for IoT data makes it super flexible and super easy for like getting and retrieving data. And it's super fast and super easy. Okay, great. The other thing, so later on today, again, if we have time, and if we don't have time today, I'll be doing it in the future. But I want to also start, like right now, it's only tracking whether the cat's present in the box. I also want to start tracking maintenance events in there. So again, that's every time I open the door on the box, whether it's, right, I want to track that to see like how many times has it been cleaned, or I can even do things too, like if I'm out of town, speaking at a conference or something, I could track to see if my rover that I hired to watch my cat is actually opening the box to clean it. You know what I mean? So you could start tracking it other ways as well. But I just want to start tracking that data. I think we have the sensor data. Let's just start saving it. While I'm on the subject too, I do want to add one other cool thing about using MongoDB, especially with Atlas too. But that's capped collections. So time series data, and particularly IoT data, gets stale pretty quickly. I don't need to save time series data from a year ago. I probably don't care, right? Like, I don't know. I haven't thought, like, what do I want to do with this? But, like, at least 30 days, right? But with a capped collection, you can actually have MongoDB auto-delete old entries if you fit up a certain size. This is super great for cloud hosting options too. Like if I don't want to pay a ton of money for data about my cat's bathroom habits, right? Like let's just cap it so I don't get charged a massive amount of money for all this data. And IoT data, like I have 2 sensors and they're not being triggered particularly often, but if I had for example, I had a fleet of these, I started selling these on Etsy and I deployed thousands of them and started tracking them all in one database. Like that could get I'm going to be generating a lot of data really quickly, and that could be really helpful to have a cap collection to kind of keep things under control and clean up old data automatically. Okay, cool, great. So we got 3 days worth of data on here. Next thing I'm going to do for adding that chart to my, or adding a chart to my dashboard is this, we can actually go to the MongoDB. I'll open this up here too. Charts are baked in. It's free. If you have Atlas, this is totally free. It's a totally free service, which is super cool. I'm going to switch this over here just to open up the screen real estate a little bit more. Okay, let's jump over here. Charts. So I've started a new dashboard for my account called IoT Litter Stats. Cool. I don't know. Naming things is hard. I don't know what I'm doing. Always can change it in the future. And let's open that up. This is super. This is cool. This is really helpful. Charts allows you to make data visualizations and share them anywhere, super easily. Like I've used there's a ton of amazing JavaScript or front-end based graphing projects. Super cool, amazing. They let you do some really cool custom stuff. If you just want to fire up some easy, quick stats about your database, this is a great place to go. I think I do some really cool stuff. I'm hearing chat saying Zoom again. Must have shrunk again. There we go. Thank you, Nick and Maxime. All right, so let's add a new chart. We'll have to kind of figure this out. I don't know. I've never done this before, so I might need the chat's help. I might kind of figure it out. I think that's okay. I think the cool part about this, though, is using charts. It makes it really easy to explore your data. You know? Like, sometimes I'm a very visual person, and seeing all these documents is, like, really helpful. But especially for this IoT time series data, I'm seeing a lot of data over a long period of time. And like, if I just want to make some quick insights into what's going on in the data, this is a great way to do that. I just got to pick my data source. I'm going to pick my IoT Kitty Litter Box database with a time series collection within there. And then we get to pick a bunch of cool stuff. So we could pick which fields go on X and Y axis, and then what kind of charts we use to. Let's see here. I do want to use a bar chart, or like let's do a column chart. And x-axis. I'm imagining I would have like the days of the week on the bottom. So it'd be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then have a bar chart of how many times a day that he went to the bathroom. Okay. Let's see if we can figure out how to do that. Okay, so timestamp and day is what I'm imagining on the x-axis. We got a new person in chat. Welcome. Hello. Howdy. So let's pop that down. X-axis. Month. I think we can do, day of the week. Awesome. Periodic. I don't know what that means. We'll figure it out. And then the next thing I want to do then is on the y-axis have the events. So for the day of the week, let's track I want to do the number of events. Let's see here. Can I do the whole thing? No. Let's see here. It looks like I can do a query on top of this. I'm just going to do wait for now. I think what I really want to do is put events.length on there per day of the week. And I think I can do that with the query. I'm just going to try this right now, though. Oh, here we go. Array length. Great. Wow. Aggregate count. Does that work? Aggregation. Okay. And let's do, what is this? What am I doing? This is cats bathroom. We'll do number of trips to the bathroom per day. Okay. Let's see here. Why is this not going? That should be okay. Coding drop zones. Am I missing an aggregation? I don't know. Let's do... Do I need this? Array length. Oh, awesome. Okay, we're getting closer. Awesome, Max. Thanks for the help. Great. This isn't quite what I wanted. We're getting close, though. So this color, I think... Array length. I think I just want... I want the events... whatever. Let's do the y-axis weight. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do timestamp event. And then we're going to do array length, sum and count. And then maybe, I don't know, I may also aggregate the color by also the same thing, timestamp event by array length. The color would be darker for more events, I think. And let's do another count. Nope, that was not what I wanted either. Distinct, maybe? Nope. Sum. So we do have 3 sets of data. Monday is the first time I started testing this. I fried the circuits when I tried assembling it and putting it in that box I showed you. And then I had to order replacement circuits, and they got sent to me on Thursday, which is when I actually turned it back on again. That's why there's a little skip there, which makes sense. Okay, length of array. That's not quite what I wanted. Let's see here. Everything goes up till 1. Aggregate. Distinct, is that? No, that doesn't seem right either. No. Unwind array. Timestamp. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Today's Friday. I've only fired it up a couple times today, so that kind of makes sense. But 2800 is still not right. I think something's wrong with the y-axis. Unwind array and account. And then I wonder if that's like summing. The color looks like it's like the timestamp event. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try doing... Maybe I'll just do... Maybe I'll try the type on here too. So they're all it should all be the same type. So we just want to see how that works. Array length. No, that still doesn't look quite right. Array element. Sum. I don't want to sum. I want to count. That still doesn't look quite right. Yeah, I might have to mess around with that a little bit more. Whatever. I think this one looks okay. It's not perfect. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but we'll figure it out later on. What I do want to do, though, is I want to drop this chart that we have onto my dashboard and just see how it looks. So let's try this. Let's do save and close. And we got this fancy new chart here. Cool. Let's go click on it. I want to embed this. So I'm opening this up. By default, MongoDB is secure. So it's saying like, hey, who can see this data? So you can authenticate this. You can put it behind like a website. You can make admin data about it, whatever, right? Internal use only. You can totally do that. I don't care. I'm opening this data up. Great. And it gives you an iframe. And so embed that wherever you want. So I'm just going to copy that embed code on here. Okay. And okay, so I have this is my code for the front end. It's just HTML and some CSS, nothing too fancy. I'm just gonna drop that embed on here. So let's find a good spot for it. So I'm gonna pop this. I had an old one on there. I'm gonna just get rid of that and restart it. So I'm just dropping the iframe that I copied from Atlas. I'm gonna drop this on here and let's take a look at this. So I got a little HTTP web server running over here. And let's go back to this thing. I'm gonna refresh the page and take a look at and see what's going on with it. Okay, we have the data. Looks like I have some sizing issues, so I'm just gonna open up the inspector. Maybe we can take a look at the CSS really quickly. And let's see if we can fix this. I might need help with this too. It's been a while since I've done iframe stuff. So I have the iframe on here. We have the height and width on here. Not quite right. Not quite right. So let's see here. Looks like we're getting, okay, kind of close. We're getting that time series data, but only for one day. Looks like it's a styling issue. I've got another idea. Just to troubleshoot the styling, I want to see if it's inheriting. I'm using Bulma CSS on here for some base heights. What's the word? A CSS system, whatever that is. Those are super great. Love them. Hard part about them is sometimes you inherit some unexpected things from your code base. So what I'm going to do is a little bit different. I'm just going to drop this at the top here. So it doesn't have like any styles around it. I'm not sure if Bulma does in the iframe styling. I don't think it does. Let's just drop it at the top just to kind of avoid any inherited styles it might have received. Okay, it's loading up. Still on there. Okay, that's okay. Looking on here too, I'm seeing that this chart has it's actually some styling on the actual event, or on the actual iframe element. So let's see here. I wonder, I have two things I'm thinking. One, we could like either, I don't think iframes you could style by percentages. It has to be in pixels. Cool. But I don't know what happens if you just delete it. I wonder if it'll auto size. So I'm just gonna try that. Let's see what happens. Oops. We're just gonna play around with it, see if we can get it massaged in there. Everyone knows how fun CSS is to deal with, right? Super fun. So I got rid of that element's on there. Looks like it's shrinking it down. Loading it up. Maybe it'll resize. Nope. Interesting, interesting. Okay. Let's put those back in here. Whoops. Let's try something a little bit different. I'm gonna make this I'm gonna make it even bigger. So let's do super long, and then maybe let's do 600. I don't know. Since it's pixels, I don't know why they got rid of percentages. I'm sure there's a good reason why. It does make it a little bit harder for kind of making things fit correctly. You know what I mean? So it looks like we got the width correctly, but why is this stuck on the old... There it is, iframe and height. Cool, great. That looks better. One weird thing though, why is it only showing one day? I don't know. Oh, I wonder if it's getting the wrong one. Let me double check this again. So we'll do, I'm just gonna trash this old one. So it looks like I'm getting the old chart, which I don't want. And I'm gonna recopy this again. Enable unauthenticated access. Great. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna copy SRC since we got that styled slightly better. That good? Okay. Let's load it up again. Cool. Let's see what happens. Getting an error. Loading data. Error 2. It still looks to me like it's trying to get that old data. I'm going to refresh this page. Make sure that it's getting the most up-to-date thing on there. We'll see how it goes. Loading. Great. Let's take 2. Let's do a embed chart. Oops. And I think that's... Yeah. Off. That looks like it's the right one. Why is that being weird? I'm going to try a couple troubleshooting stuff here. I'm going to restart my server after this loads up one more time. See if that works. I suspect it's not. Something's going on with it. Yeah, weird. I'm going to restart my server. I'm going to start just doing the basic troubleshooting steps here. See what happens. So, quit out. npm start. And let's take a peek in, see what happens. Loading data for this chart. Very weird, huh? Access. Could be permissions issue. Okay. Great. So trying to open that. Maybe that'll work. We'll see. Let's see here. Updated. Auto refresh. Let's try updating that again. Maybe it didn't go out. And let's try this again. So we'll do our embed. That looks like it's the same one. Great. That should be okay. Maybe it just like didn't get updated when I delete the other one. Or maybe it didn't know that one existed yet. I don't know. No. Interesting. Okay, I got another idea. Yeah, someone says it still looks like it's using the old church source URL. I think you're right, it does, and I don't know why it's not showing me the new one. I got an idea. What if we tried duplicating the same chart? I'm going to try just do the same exact one, and maybe refreshing it will get a different fab 423. I'm just going to check that out. Fab 423. Okay, close. That looks like the same one. I wonder if this embed enable unauthenticated access. Great. The same one. Yeah, so it gets the same it's the same source URL for every single one. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think it's I'm only looking at the last couple letters. I'm wondering if it's something else in there. I don't know. I'm also going to redeploy this again too, just to make sure that this is out. I just want to make sure we can like access this from other places. So let's pop that out. I'm not sure if that's going to do it, but blah, blah. All right, let's take a peek. If it's not, I'm going to just try this a couple more times and we'll move on. I'm not sure. Something's going on with it, but let's see. Someone on chat says ID query param the same. The last letters are the same for the tenant. Yeah, totally. Query ID. I see. So you're saying it could be, might need to do the whole thing again. That could make sense. Yeah, the ID. I'm copying the whole thing, but we'll try it one more time. We'll try it again. And then, yeah, someone asked about making the error bigger. I will totally do that. The error is pretty vague, but I will let's go through it. I'll make it bigger here so we can take a peek at it. Wait for it to load up. There it is. Okay. So the error is pretty vague. It just says error loading data for this chart, error code 2. I don't know what that means. But if I refresh it, it's getting the same thing. Very strange. Yeah, it was working before. It looks like when I deleted the other one, it caused some sort of problem on here. Which I don't know. Should be all updated. Clicking the embed code. I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to try to figure that one out. That's kind of strange though, don't you think? Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Actually, I like live streams. I like showing how errors happen on live streams. I also think it's because I think even with experienced engineers, you encounter errors all the time, and it shouldn't be a blocker, and it doesn't mean you're stupid, right? It's like, how do you deal with them when you come up with them? Which is what real programming's about. And I think was one of the advantages of Twitch in general, kind of showing that process. So obviously, when I get an error, I'm going to do a quick Google on it. If you don't get it, that's okay too today. I'm going to have to we'll have to deal with it later on. I'll kind of tweet out how I find it too. But also, I think just whenever you're doing demos, things just always break. Who knew? But let's give it a Goog. Let's just see what happens. I'm just gonna Google that error. It's pretty vague. I probably won't. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't find it. But typically, I just Google the error message we find, and whatever language or tool you're using. This happens to be MongoDB, and anything else in there too. So, we're getting church. That's kind of great. That's the wrong one. Maybe because this is still a MongoDB then too. Looks like some people are saying it's like some copy pasta issues. Could be that. It's weird because it's embed, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on. So here's the documentation on MongoDB for actually doing embedding. Looks like Trav Mitchell says, check the ID field in the iframe HTML. Make sure that matches what you see in the embed charts. I will do that again. I'm pretty sure it does because I'm just copying the whole thing. So let's take a look. Embed chart. And this ID field in here. So I'm going to just copy just the embed field because I think that the tenant is correct. But ID, here we are. Yeah, that looks okay. I just do a copy pasta. I'm not seeing any changes on it. I'm going to copy the whole thing again. And we'll try, I'm pretty sure, I would say I'm very confident that we have the correct code from MongoDB in there. I don't think that's the right one. And I'm going to rerun this. I do not expect a change here. I think while troubleshooting, it's important to make a hypothesis while you're testing. Something I see with new engineers is refreshing the cache. That's a great idea. Let's see here. I'm on Firefox right now. I recently switched to Firefox. Love it. Also, I'm less familiar with the dev tools. So I'm going to switch over to Chrome quickly. Cool. Let's see here. And we're just going to try that. Also, Nick is suggesting just dropping the straight up embed link in the browser. Make sure that that's not a problem. That's a good idea. So I'm going to try that again. So just running the src, just all that code in there, and we're just going to try that directly. So there's nothing on top of it that might be making it like weird cross-origin issues or something like that. And let's see how that goes. It's loading up. Looks like it's loading both of those. Weird. Chrome is usually pretty quick. Going kind of slow. I'm going to try dropping it in Firefox as well. Who knows? Chrome's being kind of weird now. Ah, there we go. Great. So this is, I got Chrome over here, Firefox behind it. I have just the straight up, looks like that was a cache issue. So whoever, looks like that was Trav Mitchell. You were right. Awesome. What's the, there's a saying in programming. It's the two hardest things in programming are naming variables and cache and validation. So yeah, it looks like it works totally when I drop that src in there, just straight up without my code. And then it doesn't work on my old one. Question for the stream. Does anyone know how to do a hard cache refresh? I know in Chrome, if you have the console open, the DevTools open, if you right click on the refresh button, you can do hard cache or empty cache and hard reload. I use this all the time for checking my cache when I'm deving on Chrome. I have no idea how to do it on Firefox. If anyone knows how to do that. Control R, yeah, so Control R does do a refresh. Perfect. Looks like N LaRue says Command Shift R is hard refresh on Firefox. I'm gonna just try that. Command Shift R, and hopefully that'll work. Question mark? And something's loading. That's good. Hey, that worked. Command Shift R. That was the magic. That was the magic tab. Oh, cool. Nick says you can disable caching for a particular site. That's super good to know. Especially, I think putting on localhost or 127.0.0.1, I think is awesome. Your home IP address, especially when if you develop there a lot, it's going to solve a lot of problems like we just had here. Super cool. Cool. That was awesome teamwork. You know, what I love about Twitch streaming is getting people watching the stream also on board with helping solve the problem. That's awesome. It makes a lot of time I think we're developing on our own, or we have our headphones on and we like can't, right? You're on your own a little bit, but I think having a stream kind of got your back for programming and solving issues is super cool. All right, cool. So I'm gonna make this bigger again, just so I'm gonna make sure it looks cool. I'm still having some sizing issues with that. I don't know. That's CSS stuff. We can try to figure that out too, but I would love to spend some time actually updating with the sensor data onto the schema. Trav, thank you. No, I appreciate it, man. You're the one that came through with the winning solution too, which is awesome. All right, there we go. Yeah, cool. So we're able to embed that. It looks terrible. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with that later on. The site is still work in progress. Right? I just kind of wanted to lay some stuff out so it looks like a website. You know what I mean? But we'll get that pushed in the right place later on. But I can embed that on my website. I actually have deployed this site to Google Pages. I'm going to update this later on. I'm having some minor issues with GitHub Pages, excuse me. I don't know. I think their Jekyll preprocessor is causing some issues to my CSS, but again, another thing I need to worry about. We'll try to deal with that later on too, but okay, cool. I'm going to close this for now. Let's see. I'm gonna spend some time here too, just going into updating the maintenance. So I think this part is a little bit more IoT-ish. I'm going to be adding my sensor data on here. So I think that requires kind of going through the code base a little bit for my actual, I'm going to save this. I'm going to close this window. I'm I think this would be a good time to kind of go over some of the code on here as well. So I'm going to make this full screen and let's go through it. So I've done a lot of development on Raspberry Pis. Raspberry Pis are great, I think, for beginners because they has a built-in GUI. The hard part, though, with Pis is they have terrible text editors, unless you're comfortable with Vim, which I'm, like, vaguely familiar with it, or Nano. Again, I'm not an expert at Nano either. I prefer... I'm using Visual Studio Code. Cool thing Visual Studio came out with recently, and by recently I mean, like, a year-ish ago, is they can do... what do they call it? Remote... Yeah, you know what I'm going to do is just open up a brand new window. Or brand new window. There we go. I think they call it a remote shell. I want to open it up just to confirm what the name is. And I want to share it with you because it's super amazing and it makes working on IoT devices super great. / any device that isn't your current machine. So it's called Remote SSH. I think either it's a plugin you have to install or it's core now. I don't know. You have to Google it, check it out. All I know, it exists for Visual Studio Code, and it allows you to SSH into a device from Visual Studio Code. Super cool. So what does that mean? I'm SSHing in here right now. I've enabled it on my Pi, and you can actually edit and view files from the Pi. I've opened up the file with all my all the code in here. And actually edit, and it even has a built-in terminal for that device in Visual Studio Code. Super cool. I'm impressed by it. This may have existed otherwise. I usually, whenever I do this, I have to do some complex SSH stuff. I'm like nanoing in. It's like a big pain in the butt. And especially when I'm on a live stream, like showing that code, I just want to use the machine I'm used to. I'm way faster, way more efficient with it. This saved my butt, though. It's super cool. So let's take a peek in here. I want to just do a quick demo of the code, and then we'll go through this. So I have an Express server running on here. My plan was to serve up that dashboard I just showed you from my Pi. So if everyone on the World Wide Web would just go to my Pi, that's not very scalable. I'm deciding I might roll it back. I might get rid of Express, but it's there for right now. Also, I've also considered making a server on here to like make a public API or doing some data digest from it. But honestly, having charts and then I have like Stitch and some other cool things you can do with MongoDB, like, you know, I don't even need it anymore. So I'm probably just going to cut it. But I do want to show you some, I want to show you kind of just high level how this thing works. I'm using to interact with the hardware, I'm using JavaScript, which is crazy. But I'm using a JavaScript NPM package called Johnny5. There's two big IoT and JavaScript libraries out there right now. It's Cylon.js, like the Battlestar Galactica evil robots, and Johnny5, like from Short Circuit. Both of them are compatible with a ton of different devices. Like Arduino Unos, there's a ton of other IoT devices, and it basically compiles down JavaScript code to bytecode that it puts onto the hardware. Raspberry Pis are a little bit different since you can run a full-on node. Like it's a Linux system. You can install Node on the OS. You can install npm on the OS. So like it doesn't need to get compiled down. But the point is, if you're using Johnny5, you need to tell it what kind of system it does, or it's on, so it knows how to compile that code down. I'm using Johnny5, and I'm telling, there's a package called raspberry.io, using that. Cool. Let's go down here. We'll kind of go through one piece at a time. So on line 30 here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm just instantiating a new board from the Johnny5 class, and I'm saying it's a Raspberry Pi board. Cool. No worries. And then, like all things in Node and JavaScript, it's based on events. So we're waiting for a ready event on here. So it's saying like Johnny5, once you've like hooked up to the GPIO on the Raspberry Pi, let me know when you're ready, and it runs a callback function. I may permissify this in the future, or use async await. I'm just using callbacks right now. I just wanted to get it working, and then I'm gonna start making the code beautiful and gorgeous and easy to read. And then what I'm doing, I've created a class called scale, and that is the actual measurements in the corner. I'm gonna show you that in a second, but actually, no, we'll skip that. I want to just jump into the switches. The switches are super easy, and it's the thing we want to focus on anyways today. But Johnny Five's got a switch class. I just say like, hey, I have a switch, and it's on GPIO 16. That means on the Raspberry Pi. Actually, you know what? I've got a Pi over here. If you're new to hardware development, well, welcome. Awesome. I just want to do a little show and tell here. I have a unused Raspberry Pi, and up here is the GPIOs. It stands for General Purpose Input Output. And this is basically, these are the pins you use for interacting with the real world. So what I'm saying there on line 45 is that I have a switch, and it's been connected to the 16th pin. To be honest, it's not labeled on here at all, but I Google it. Wikipedia's got a great thing. It shows you which pin is which, and it says I just solder on the switch on line 16, like ground the other one, and then I'm done. So assuming that I have a switch on GPIO 16, which exists on my real deal one, not on this extra one I have. We wait for events, and I'm basically saying, whoops, shaking the whole screen here. We're waiting. There's a couple events. There's an open and a close. So on open, we want to do something, and on close, we want to do something. Right now, open does nothing. This is where I'm going to start adding a new event to the time series data in a sec. But I want to show you the close. So when someone closes the door, what I'm doing here on line 54 through 56, I'm waiting 60,000 milliseconds, which is 60 seconds. So wait a minute. And I do that to like kind of wait for everything to settle. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be closed. Anything might settle. I don't know. An event. I want to step away from it. And then once it's basically like, it's safe again, right? It's like a safe, stable environment. Then I recalibrate the scale. So when I close it, I would assume I just like add a new litter to it or clean the box or something. But the new base weight's changed. I need to set a new base weight for when that cat comes in. So that's what's happening there. But on open is when we actually want to do that. Submit a new event that we have a maintenance event. So let's do that. I've been streaming for an hour. I think this should only take a couple minutes. So I'll be doing that, and then I'll probably be wrapping it up for today. But let's go ahead and do that. So I have a function called database helper. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller since we don't really need it down here. I have a function called insert time series data. I'm probably gonna refactor this a little bit because right now all it does is it makes a new cat event. So you can see here this new event. It does a timestamp. It's saying it's a cat event, and it enters the weight. Rebecca's on there. Cool. Hello, welcome. Right now, so that's the event of the cat entering the box. But I want to make a brand new type of event. We're going to be tracking the same kind of data for maintenance mode like initiated, but I'm obviously not going to have a cat's weight to measure anymore, and the type's going to be different. So let's do a couple things. Insert time series data. Actually, that can be fine. I'm going to do insert time series data. It has the weight client. That's the database client. So you can see here I'm connecting up to my MongoDB collection on Atlas. I'm also going to be adding a third type on here called type. So that would be whether it is a cat entering the box now or a maintenance event being triggered that we want to enter. And based on that, we can kind of change the data that's being entered in that time series data. Cool. So let's go back. I'm going to go to my app.js. I'm going to put these side by side. I think it's helpful for me to code, having a lot of code on the page, especially when I'm kind of working with functions in separate modules. It can be helpful for me to kind of remember I'm not misspelling anything or whatever. So I'm going to bring in my database helper method. Oops. Whoops. So let's, great. And insert time series data. I want to check to see how I'm exporting it. Looks like it's just a straight up function. I'm not doing a object. And we have my helper, and I called it DB helper. All right. And then I'm going to invoke this too. So we can start testing this too. But I'm on open. I want that to be logged. Then I want to do. We have the three things. We have the type, weight, and client. I'm going to also use JavaScript's fancy. Actually, I might move this around. You can do, what do they call it? Default arguments. So if nothing's entered, there's no weight, it'll default to null, and it's not going to fail. Great. Which is why we can use the same function to do multiple things, kind of multi-purpose it. But what do we want to call this? Maybe we'll call it maintenance. Maybe I'll just call it maintenance. We can always change it. Not a big deal, especially with MongoDB. Super piece of cake to update your schema. It's very flexible. And we need to pass through our client. So our client is instantiated in our ready function. So I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. I'll show that client. We're just instantiating a brand new MongoDB client. I have some options I pass through to that. But the URI, I'm not going to show that. That's basically the link. When you set up a new Atlas collection that you want to connect to, it gives you a URI, and you just copy paste that, kind of like how we did with the charts earlier. But we need to pass that client through, and I do that because I want to instantiate the top level, and then we just pass around that, how to connect with it wherever we need it. And it's basically just right now in here. So we're saying this is a maintenance. Oh my gosh, is that how you spell maintenance? I'm gonna Google that. That doesn't feel right. I'm also not a spelling champion, and I rely on, yeah, that's right, maintenance. Great, perfect. I did spell it right. Okay, so we have our open, our DB helper, and so let's go back. We're instantiating that when that gets triggered, and then we're gonna insert that time series data. So type. I want to do a quick, we're going to do like a little if else check on there. If type equals, let's just do maintenance. Maintenance. Yes. Okay, cool. I got an idea. So, and then else, that's for, I got an idea. So what we're going to do is we'll use the same variable, but I'm just going to instantiate that above. We'll do let new event equal null. Someone's saying maintenance. Perfect. Someone corrected me. Thank you. That's great. I'm just going to instantiate this up here. And then I'm going to kind of copy paste this. So based on the type that's coming through, whether it's a cat triggered event or just a regular maintenance event, we'll just kind of update this. So we'll do, and then type, you know what? Then we can just get rid of this. Can't remember if that's called with JavaScript, but you could just, whatever type comes through from whoever invokes the function, it's just going to pass it through on there. And then weight. The only thing we're going to be doing is cutting the weight. Perfect. I think you could probably make this a little bit easier. Since we're optioning adding that weight, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it for now. Again, I just want to get this working and test it. So what happens is the type of event that we say it's going to be, we kind of update the schema for what an event looks like. Someone's letting me know I'm 17 and 18. Someone's letting me know I need to update or remove comma. I prefer dangling commas. This is super. In JavaScript, it's not a type error and it's totally legal. I prefer it, and the biggest reason is I write my code to be human readable and easily changeable. I know, Max. I'm so sorry. It's super unpopular opinion. I love having dangling commas though. But the thing is, if I add a new element to that object or a new key, the only thing I have to do is change that line. If you don't use dangling commas, you have to update 2 lines of code, which increases the chance for error. It's why I use it. Again, I know people hate dangling commas, but I love dangling commas. It makes the code easier to change in the future. In my humblest of opinions. I get yelled at that a lot though. Okay, cool. Great. Okay, so the other thing I did too was I added a new type on here. I also need to update where this gets invoked when the cat enters the box. So I have that in my scale function. I'm going to close this. So this is I have a class called scale, and it's basically responsible for handling, like doing all the getters and setters and random stuff that we need to do for kind of analyzing the data, the raw data coming in from the scale. Like initializing it, getting averages, determining if a cat's been entered in it. I let that all be handled by my scale class. Max is losing his mind over my dangling commas. I'm so sorry. I know I'm probably one of the few that enjoys dangling commas, but so when I was a technical lead, I made it part of our ESLint rules that it reinforced that like on our team, and it was very contentious. It was a very contentious rule I added. We fought about it a lot. Okay, let's see here. We'll go through. I'm doing some cool stuff in here. You know what? We'll get to it in a bit. I'm using the spawn child process feature in Node, which is super cool. And I'm doing that for some weird reasons. I'm not going to go into it, but I do want to go through it eventually. Okay. I'm checking. I have a function that checks to see if there's a cat in the box, and then I have an event that gets triggered too. And that's exactly where my insert time series data comes in. So I need to update this to make sure that we're passing through the right stuff. We have our type. What do we call it? I think I just called it cat. Maybe I'll just call it cat. So we have type, client, and wait. And we'll do type, client, this dot client, and wait. Okie dokie. Let's test this out. Let's test it out. So I wrote a new helper function, updated the schema based on the type of event that gets passed through, and let's see if this works. So npm, I have a run dev mode on here. I call it start dev. Basically, start dev mode it's running nodemon on top of my node server, so it just restarts the server every single time it determines a change. Makes it really easy for updating it. So you can see real time the current weight. Maybe I'll show. I don't think I've even shown this before. I'm gonna let's see here. I'm gonna show you guys how this works really fast. So I'm gonna show you the box. So keep an eye on this is current every I think half a second. I'm reading the weight from the scale. It's running. It's zeroed right now. It's zeroed out. So it's empty box runs at 0. But I'm gonna press down on it, and you should be able to see an increase or a change in there. It does negatives, but I'm pressing down on the pad right now, and you can see that it sensed an increase in the weight. So the other thing we need to start testing is the sensor data. So this is the one piece I actually have not installed yet, but it's the other part of the magnetic sensor. I just need to install it. I got too tired last night, so I didn't do it. Whatever. It's super easy. I just have to do it later on today. I'll show you this. This is actually the other half of the magnetic sensor. I have the other half on behind the door right now. This is the last piece. So I'm going to go over here and start testing. And you should be able to see the open and close now. Wow, that's a lot of stuff happening on there. Yeah, so I'm making it go back and forth, so it should be open, and then we're going to see a close event. And great. I'm going to close this or stop that from running. So how do we test this? I'm just going to go to Atlas and see if we enter that. I think it should be good to go, but we'll have to see how that works. Where did I put that? Did I close that? I think I did. Whoops. Okay. So I'm gonna open up Atlas again, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna test to see if that data in there. So we're seeing some increase in writes to the database. Makes sense, right? We just ran some tests on there. It should still be sending that data over, and I want to make sure that we're seeing those maintenance things happen from when I was opening and closing it during that test round. So let's go to collections. Again, Atlas makes it super easy just to like take a look at the data. Great. So the latest one, I assume this is Friday. I can't read timestamps. What day is today? 22nd. Here we go. This looks. Is that right? 18. Oh, 18, 15, 21. I don't know. Let's look in here. So I'm gonna pop this open. Holy cow! Is this from today? I should check the timestamp. Timestamp. Type. Okay. That's something's weird's going on there, but that's okay. Type. I wonder if it's getting like. Okay, that should be okay. Type. Max says this test data is not accurate at all. I think you're right, Max. It's a little bit too much for one single animal. Good thing this is a test round. If this was like real data, I'd probably take them to the vet. Okay. Let's see here. 19, 11, 15, 18, 21. I think that's right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete this document. I think that's the one from today. Why am I doing that? I don't know. It's just restart it again. So we're going to start it over from again. There was like 500 things in there. It's just hard to read it all. So I'm just going to gut it. This DB helper, it'll instantiate, it'll check to see if a document was created in the last day. So we'll do a find one, and we do a query based on find me a document that's created in the last 24 hours. If it doesn't exist, we make a new one. If it does, we just append that. We push that event onto the series. So open and close it a couple times. Okay. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to refresh. And I'm going to cross my fingers. We got 2 in there. We should see 3 documents. Again, cross our fingers. Yippee! Great. 1822. There we go. And array. Great. Maintenance. There it is. Yippee! And then let's check it again too. Maintenance. That's a bunch of open type. So that looks like it's not going through correctly from when I'm actually a cat's in the real thing. I don't know. Oh, that's because I actually wrote type. That makes sense. Cool, but that works. Great. So now I'm in time series data. I'm tracking multiple sensors and adding those different events to my time series data. So now I can start doing queries too. I can start doing filters on, number of things that are, maintenance mode, or how many times is it how many times is it being cleaned per week or whatever. I can start running analytics based on those events from that time series data. Okay, cool, great. I think we finished everything we set out to do today. So we did a quick demo of the project. We added a chart to MongoDB, to my little dashboard, and then we updated the maintenance event in the schema. So I want to talk about next couple of weeks too. So we're going to be streaming Fridays at noon Central Time for the next couple of weeks. With the one exception of next week, because next week is Black Friday, so we won't be streaming next week, but you can catch us again on next Friday. We are talking about doing additional streams in the future, so if you have questions, please let us know. You can hit us up at MongoDB Twitter, or you can hit me up personally on Twitter. That's Joe Carlson1. I think that's in the corner of my stream, wherever that is. But feel free to hit me up on there too. I'd love to chat about it as well. And then maybe Maxime and Nick, if you guys want to post your Twitter usernames in this chat too. Those guys would also they'll be streaming in the future and also be available to answer questions too. If you have suggestions or ideas, we would love to hear it. Thank you, Max. Perfect. Yeah, awesome. They just posted it in there. Awesome. Great. But I think that's about it. Happy Friday, everyone. And thank you for everyone that stopped by today. This is amazing. We're new at this. This is great. This has been awesome. You guys have been such a great audience. You helped me out big time today. I'm so happy. Yeah, no, thank you so much. This is huge for us. We really, really appreciate it. And if you're loved what you saw today, make sure you follow so you can so you are aware of what's going on next time too. Cool, awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll catch you 2 weeks from now. Bye.